Somewhere in space, this may all be happening right now.
It's the Pop Culture Hour. I'm your host, Johnny, and with me is the amazing Emily Lynn. How are you, Emily?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am well, and actually making it to the premiere episode, and it was a close call at first, Mr. Michael Pappas.
What's up, guys? How are you?
I am well. So, Emily, should we tell everyone how Mike almost missed the premiere episode of the Pop Culture Hour?
I mean, he didn't miss it. That's the important thing.
But he was gonna miss it.
No, I was just going to show up pretty hammered. Maybe a few minutes late. I wasn't going to mess with that.
I sent out like the text around, I don't know. We were planning on taping Friday, 8 p.m. And when would you say I texted? Like, 7 o'clock-ish? Like, see you guys in an hour type thing? Was that it?
I think so.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, we get bombarded with texts from Michael, just going nuts. Basically, go ahead. Tell us your.
Well, I thought that you were like, hey guys, like, you want to do tonight or do you want to do tomorrow night? Like, it was an option. Like, you texted
that
us
conversation already happened, and we settled on Friday.
Oh no, I thought you meant last night. Like, do you guys want to record at 8 or does 8 work for everybody? Because I could do tomorrow. I forget what it said, but
we basically.
I was just like, if you guys could do tomorrow, that's cool because, you know, I had a couple Stellas because I had I had a bad day. So.
Do you want to talk about your bad day?
No, I don't actually. Maybe later when I warm up a little bit.
When you loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, but not
right.
like I'm sober now. I just mean like just hang out with my friends, get into the flow here.
Oh, I hear you. Let's talk a little bit about what the Pop Culture Hour is. In short, the Pop Culture Hour is anything and everything dealing from movies, TV, music, collecting, video games, celebrity gossip, because you know I'm all about the DiCaprio. Pretty much anything and everything current event except no religion, no politics. How would you explain it, Emily? Is that the gist of it?
I think that's good.
Yeah, maybe we'll throw in some fashion once in a while just to keep people guessing.
Yeah.
Maybe cosplay fashion.
Cosplay fashion's not bad.
No.
Not too.
I'll sneak in some books once in a while.
Now, I started explaining to Josh. I was on Star Wars Spelt Out, and it was actually an amazing episode. Josh Chapman is a treasure, and Josh Chapman actually did the logo for the Pop Culture Hour, so thank you, Josh. Evan DeAngelis, our heart goes out to Evan. He lost one of his fur babies. Evan's also doing a little something completely different. And I was talking to Josh, and we were just discussing kind of what the Pop Culture Hour is. And I kind of wanted to let people in on who I am a little more. Now, you guys know me, right? You've known me for a while, and that's why I really like doing a podcast with both of you. Emily and I go 4 years
Yeah, I
Em?
think so. About
You know,
that.
and you have in this thing we called podcasting, you've got your podcast friends, your acquaintances, and then people that like, you legit become friends with and you actually meet and hang out with in real life. And right after this Corona stuff, Emily, we have to do, and Mike, we have to do another like New York meetup with everybody because those are always fun. And I was explaining to Chapman everything, and I think I'm going to be more of myself. Like the other podcasts, Rogue One and everything up until Star Wars Spelled Out, like I've always kind of been like a caricature of myself. So now you're actually going to get more of who I am. And I bring this up because let's just say most of the time I'll play dumb, but there's one thing that is true, and that is I legit hate to read. So that's what brought this whole 3-minute diatribe on. So I'm glad you're going to talk about books and everything because even though most of my podcasting persona has been a lie up until now, that
I
part
wouldn't
is true.
say that. I wouldn't say a lie at all. I just think it's over exaggerated for fun. I don't
Yes.
think lies. the right word.
All right, I'll accept that. Definitely over exaggerated. Definitely over exaggerated. Like for example, there will be no more chicks dig me. That is
Aw.
not, yeah, that is not who I am. I do not think chicks dig me. And if they do, I am probably like really super over appreciative when that happens. That's just something I did for a laugh and it stuck. So you're gonna get more of the intellectual that I am, but I'm still a goofball. But I do hate to read. So I can't wait to talk a lot of history and science because those are history was kind of like my profession for a while, and I love science as a hobby. So I can't wait to like really get into that stuff. What about you, Emily? What are you looking forward to bringing to the Pop Culture Hour, or what you're excited to talk about? Because as you guys know, Emily is part of the amazing Canto Bight Dispatch, which is a purely Star Wars podcast. Michael and I came from Rogue One, purely Star Wars podcast. So Emily, what excites you about the Pop Culture Hour? What are you looking forward to in our next 300 episodes together?
I mean, just sort of not feeling pressure to talk about stuff that I don't necessarily care about. I mean, I love Star Wars, and we at Canto Bight, we go on plenty of other like rants and topics, but we always at least try to have something, and sometimes that means pretending you have an opinion on a little bit of news that you have absolutely no opinion on. And I still want to talk about Star Wars and talk about big stuff, but when there's no news for a week, I don't want to be. I'm looking forward to not having to Google Star Wars news and find one little nugget of something so that I feel like we're still a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way in terms of what I'm not going to miss about Rogue One is that type of stuff. Like, are we really going to spend 15 minutes on this, like, maybe rumor that turns out to be nothing in a week and a half? You know what I mean? It's like the little stuff that is kind of never really goes anywhere. And we can move on to just talking about larger topics across a wider range plethora of content, which I think is going to be really cool for us.
Yeah, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the Michael Pappas, as you guys know from Rogue One, it was definitely like a over-exaggerated character for sure. Now you're going to probably see that Michael Pappas that we all fall in love with when he starts drinking a couple Stellas. But I believe he's Stella free right now. He's drinking some Diet Snapple, not even regular Snapple. He's going Diet Snapple. So you got some depth to Mike. So how about we just stop talking about what the show is going to be about and just be about it? Because I definitely have something that I want to get off my chest, because I really feel I am the only person in the world, and I was the only person on Rogue One for a long time, that actually likes the work of one Zack Snyder. So we're going to kick off the Pop Culture Hour with some DC news, because it turns out the Snyder Cut, which I thought was a fan movement, like release Solo or make Turbis canon or whatever that stuff I see on whatever Twitter is. So I thought the Snyder Cut was just kind of like a fan movement. And then like a year ago, like Ben Affleck, who I have one of my many man crushes on, shout out Leo Brad, he started tweeting it out, and then the whole cast of like Justice League started tweeting out the Snyder, release the Snyder cut, and then my God, this week they announced on HBO Max, whatever that is, I guess it's Disney Plus for HBO, what have you. Like, what do I pay for? I know I need extra HBO. Like, what's my subscription for? We'll get to that in a minute. But the point is, the Snyder cut's gonna freaking happen. Ladies first. Emily, what do you think?
I mean, well, first of all, the thing is they're not releasing the Snyder cut. They're making the Snyder cut, which I think is sort of an important thing because they're spending like $30 million to get this done. It wasn't a cut that actually did exist. But I have mixed feelings on it. I mean, first of all, I don't like Zack Snyder. I don't like any of his work. But beyond that, I worry about the precedent that it sets because as like immediately like we started getting release the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad and release this and like it's it's the if you give a mouse a cookie thing, which is
you're opening up a gate that we may never return from, and we may be careful what you wish for type of thing.
And it's also like fans are so obnoxious anyway. So once you reward them for being obnoxious, and I know not everybody with the Snyder thing was obnoxious. I know that part of that was when bad people capture something and sort of become the loudest voices in it. It's not fair because there's plenty of other people who wanted to see whatever Zack Snyder's vision for this movie is, who weren't terrible fans and weren't toxic about it. But when so many of them are so loudly gross dicks on the internet, it becomes like, it seems like those are the people you're rewarding. And that, I think, is an ugly move.
Yeah, I mean, I just from recent memory or like recent in pop culture with what happened with their quote unquote non-existent JJ cut, like that week was horrible in fandom, like after the movie came out, and there was some backlash, obviously, because it's fucking Star Wars. I wasn't happy with that. Even if the JJ cut may have satisfied me better, like Star Wars is still sacred. What's done is done. I hope that, to Emily's point, like if WB is going to go ahead and do this, does that mean 5 years from now it's going to be the new norm? God, I hate that freaking term. And then Lucasfilm eventually does something similar. Like I'm not cool with that. And I don't know how you both feel. I mean, I think Emily's in line with what I'm saying, but like I'm not cool with that being like the new normal at all. And also to like double dip as well. You know what I mean?
Well, it definitely seems like the fans have a voice. I really think that movement on Twitter got this project going. And Emily's right. She's 100% right. It's they're creating the Snyder Cut. And the fans have a voice. I believe if it wasn't for that, it's going to sound so stupid to say, especially like when people listen back like 10 years when hashtags aren't a thing anymore. But like that hashtag movement like got this thing made. Who's the director of Guardians of the Galaxy that got fired and rehired?
James Gunn.
Yeah,
Thank you. James Gunn, right? I got a feeling fans brought him back, Like
well, the cast too though, Johnny.
Well,
right.
Also fans got him fired.
Right. Yes. Well said. So it's weird. So both times it worked out, and I don't think the Snyder Cut would have happened if it wasn't for the cast as well, because that was a year ago, that they started retweeting it too. So, that Michael's right. It definitely did like play a part, a huge part in both those things. It's crazy to think that something like that can gain momentum. Like it's almost just like crazy. And then I didn't really plan on talking about Star Wars at all tonight, but the Rise of Skywalker. Where was I going with this?
The craziness that 2 weeks after the film came out with the hashtag release the JJ cut went nuts for like 2 weeks over Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I don't think there is a JJ cut or anything, but Trevorrow's script, like, gained traction again. You heard about it, it went away, and then all of a sudden when a lot of people weren't happy with The Rise of Skywalker, it's like then you got people making animated movies of the Trevorrow script, and they're like, that's better than The Rise of Skywalker. So it's crazy. And don't get me wrong, there were elements of the Trevorrow script, but I was like, ooh, that would have been better.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's like, to get a Seinfeld reference in here. Star Wars is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good. That's my little Seinfeld.
Yeah, I mean, the first day we hung out, we had dollar pizza, and that dollar pizza was fucking banging for dollar pizza. We were happy.
Well, we were also really drunk.
No, this was before that night.
Okay.
This was Johnny and I hooked up because we were talking about the podcast, and we went to an exhibit, Star Wars costume exhibit, and we had $1 pizza, and it was still fucking good.
I'd buy that for $1.
That's the same corner, Mike.
Oh yeah, it was the same spot. That's
Yeah.
right.
So let's bring that up. Everyone that meets me in New York for these meetups, and like sometimes there's like 20 people, sometimes there's like 7 people, or somewhere in between. Like I don't drink much, but every time like I go to that place, it's like, oh, it's time for me to like cut loose and have some drinks. So like I'm afraid that like every time people see me, they're like, dude, this Grasso is an alcoholic. Like, like what the hell's up with this guy? It's like, no, that's not the case. It's like I only get out like 2 or 3 times a year, and it's like to see Emily and Mike in New York, or Star Wars Celebration or Comic-Con. So I just wanted to say that.
I mean, we all kind of let loose when we're together, and even when like new listeners and new friends come along, I'd say 90 to 95% of us are usually consuming the same amount of alcohol. So I think our listeners and our friends totally understand that for sure.
First off, we don't have listeners anymore, Mike. This is actually like we're like, this is episode 1, so this is like kind of scary. We were hitting some nice numbers. Emily, this is how lame me and Mike are, because we were just trying so hard to get like advertising for the podcast. Like I'd screenshot our numbers and I'd send it to him, and I'm like, show that to your motherfucking man. Like, yeah, like get us paid. Like, what's up? And like now, Mike, it's gonna be like 15 people.
I doubt it.
So we would like to shout out those 15 people listening by name.
No,
Like,
I mean, this
hello.
is on the same feed, so a lot of people just
Yeah.
won't bother to delete it.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, and the groups on social that we do have with our listeners from our older Star Wars podcasts are very active right now, and the feedback to change the format and content has been extremely positive. So I think Johnny's going to be really surprised when we check out some numbers in about a week or two.
I don't know.
That's what I think.
Well, the point is, if you're listening, I really appreciate it. So let's wrap up the Zack Snyder cut. I'm excited for it. Emily doesn't like anything Zack Snyder ever did, which is weird because he totally did like Watchmen and 300. Those are cool. You don't think those are cool?
Yeah, I even like Sin City.
That was Frank Miller.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I fucking like Sin City too, and I can talk about it now on this podcast.
I like elements of Watchmen, and I think it's a like visually really good movie, and I think it's got some great scenes. But as a real big fan of the Alan Moore book, it's not what that book is. I mean, just in terms of like message. But that's fine. I just don't like the movie. But 300, I think, is kind of toxic and racist and gross.
How's it racist?
Why?
Have you seen it
No,
recently?
I saw it. No, not recently.
Yeah, I would say go back and look at that and the portrayal of the villains. It's also like ragingly homophobic.
Yeah, I know. You mean the way that the Persians are portrayed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as a Spartan, honestly, that's 75% of my blood. 100% Greek, by the way. Spartakopita.
Did Mike just say, Emily, hold on. Did Mike just say, as a Spartan?
Yeah, he did. And I was going to let it go.
Yeah, but I am.
No.
My family's from Sparta.
As a
Why?
Spartan.
My family's from Sparta.
All right, rock. Go ahead, Spartan.
And my dad's taught me the history of ancient Greece, and I know what you mean by the homophobia stuff. But like a lot of that, there is some. I'm sure Johnny, maybe even more than myself, knows about ancient Greece. Like a lot of that was. There is some, not a lot. There is some truth to that stuff. On the Greece end of that film.
No, not ancient Greece is not my thing. I mean, last time I had ancient Greece was probably like a survey course, like freshman year in college. So like, no, I'm gonna rewatch. We're gonna revisit this on the Pop Culture Hour.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna watch 300 and I'm gonna see it through Emily's perspective, and we're gonna come back to that. I'm curious what I missed all those years ago. I just remember badass action.
Yeah, great action. I'll just say this quickly. I definitely agree that the way the Persians were portrayed, even though they were the ones that were trying to conquer and take over Greece, and Greece was on the defensive and not trying to take over Persia, they were portrayed in like a very animalistic, like super like racist mythological way that, I mean, Xerxes is alone. We can talk to for an hour. So I totally get it. Today that may not have fly, but from like a fantasy fiction standpoint, not real history, I thought it was cool. Probably wouldn't fly today, and I totally see that.
I don't think it's a terribly made movie. I can't with it. I can't deal with it.
I get that. I think Johnny needs to watch it and kind of get on board with a few of the things that we're talking about, though. And
No,
I'd love to hear his
yeah.
feedback.
It's definitely well, just a reminder for everybody, we are a every other week podcast, so I have basically 2 weeks to see this movie, and I totally will. You have my word. I'm gonna watch it. I have the DVD somewhere. Not even like Blu-ray. Like I have like the DVD. I gotta dig up. But actually, before we get off of Zack Snyder and Justice League, did you guys hear what like Ezra Miller, the phenomenally talented actor who played the Flash, did you guys catch wind of what he did probably about a month ago?
The beating up a woman at a bar?
No, it was like, didn't it look like, yes,
What?
but wasn't it like a grocery store? It looked
Oh,
like
I thought it was at a club,
Oh my god.
but I don't
No.
remember because it was from a while ago.
it looked like a BJ's. Like it looked like, okay,
It was
so
in
the
Costco.
important, it looked like something like that. So Mike, do me a favor, Google that real quick
Yeah.
while I riff on it. Like, this is one of the most talented actors I've seen. He hasn't been in much, but what was that Wallflower movie? I forget what it was called.
The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yes, he was. Did you see it, Emily?
No, I read the book.
Oh wow. I mean, I got a video here I can send to you guys.
You learn it? Did you want to fight? Is that the deal? Whoa, bro. You want to fight?
It was at a bar in Reykjavik.
Iceland. Well, Reykjavik is in Iceland, obviously. I got the video. I can send it to you guys. But basically, he says, a man says to him, "You want to fight?" And that's what you want to do. And then, he says that to the young woman who appears to be jokingly preparing herself to fight. Then he grabs her by the throat and throws her on the ground. And the person filming is like, "Bro, stop." And then it ends. So
Yes,
we don't know if he's drunk or.
That doesn't look like a BJ's to you? Like, isn't it so well lit?
Yeah, it definitely is shopping, like, market, like, place.
Doesn't it look like it?
I think
But
so.
it's a bar, huh? I guess those are bars in Iceland. Like a fucking Costco.
Yeah.
But the point
Well,
is,
it was like early evening at a bar.
Oh.
it still looks like a BJ's Costco supermarket though. Like I can't get over how much of like I mean we should probably talk about the horror of him hitting a woman for no fucking reason other than like but we're stuck on like it looks like a Costco.
I'm just
So, like,
yeah.
It's like I don't like it looks like there's a big fucking like serious like a Vizio for only $300 like but 80 inches like behind him. Like it's just weird. All right, so the point is like extremely talented actor. He, did something really stupid, and now the Zack Snyder cut's gonna happen on HBO Max, and Ezra Miller was one of the bright spots of that not so great movie. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, does this hurt the project? It's definitely going to bring up his violence in that situation. I mean, was there an update in the article, Mike? Like what's he dealing with right now? Like clearly he's not getting cast anytime soon.
Yeah, this was written April 6th. I don't have an update on this, but there could be maybe something else came out outside of this, but this hasn't been updated. I don't think this should affect him unless that woman comes out and says exactly what happened and this was like an assault. Like we don't know their relationship. Like that could be a sister. I mean, I wouldn't
No.
choke out my sister, but like the video's so quick and she's smiling, by the way. I just watched it again. Like she's kind of smiling.
because she's teasing, joking, and then this dude like grabs her by the throat and throws her down. Like what?
Emily,
Yeah, I
what
mean
do you
he got
think?
thrown out of the bar by security. This wasn't like
Oh.
some joking around with friends.
Mm.
Like you can't I don't know, you can't, erase him from this movie that you already made, but certainly going forward you recast him because he like choked a woman and threw her to the ground.
Yeah, like it's not going to be a good
Yeah.
look for the studio. Like he's done. Like he's going to have to like rebuild his career like Shia LaBeouf, who by the way, let's add him to my man crush stuff. Besides being batshit crazy, Shia LaBeouf is like an amazing actor. And I was watching Fury the other day again. Did you guys ever see that movie?
Great
No.
movie.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a really good war movie. It's with Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf. Who's the funny guy from Marvel? Ant-Man.
The Spanish guy. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
He does the heist, the robberies with Paul Rudd. And then he does those monologues where he's like, and then we went on this side and we went over here and we did it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emily, do you know his name?
I can't remember it. No.
All right, he's in it. The Punisher, the Netflix Punisher's in it. John Bernthal or some shit like that.
Yeah. And also from Walking Dead.
Yep, Shane from The Walking Dead. It's like a war movie, and they're in a tank, and like it's really good. It's a good movie. It's really good, and Shia was really good in it, and I was like, that's really good. And then the Peanut Butter Falcon movie, where he escorts an autistic man across country to like join a wrestling school because his dream is to be like this wrestler with the name Peanut Butter Falcon. And I haven't seen that movie yet, but I'm dying to see it. So like Shia LaBeouf is like slowly rebuilding his career after going nuts, and it's gonna, any actor can do that. It just takes time. Even Mel Gibson's like still making like straight to Netflix movies. And I don't think recently, but
Dude, everybody is, honestly. I mean, Pacino to Nicolas Cage to, well, not your boys. Those, I mean, Leo and Brad, God forbid, but and Tom Cruise. But like everybody else is literally just like popping out straight to Netflix, straight to Blu-ray, all over left and right, especially with no theaters now,
that's actually something we can talk about. So I read an article recently. Perhaps the coronavirus has shown that you don't need movie theaters. Like, have we seen the last of movie theaters? Will movie theaters go the way of the drive-in theater?
No.
Will there be a few here and there? Go ahead, Emily.
No, because nobody, I mean, well, not nobody, but people aren't going to want to see the next Marvel movie at home. And I think big event movies like that are still going to keep theaters in business and will allow theaters to show smaller movies as well. And I mean, I'm not going to say it's not going to change anything, because it definitely is. And we sort of don't. It's impossible to know the full ramifications of this now, because we're looking at a world that has changed on like every level in terms of social interaction, at least in the near future. But I don't think it's the death of movie theaters, because going to the theater is still an experience, and it's still like something that you do. Like, I want to go to the movies with my friends, or I want to like go to the Alamo and have a burger and a beer and watch a Spanish horror movie. And that's something you're not going to be able to completely replace. I think the thing where you might see it change more is with family movies. I mean, even if you're charging $20 for a rental, if you have 3 kids, you're spending much more than that to go to the theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that all makes sense. On the other side of it, again, Johnny's boy Tom Cruise, after Mission Impossible 5, I think, came out with like FYI with his director that the TVs that we're watching these movies that are filmed for cinema and filmed with IMAX cams and new digital HD cameras are not being shown the right way on these new home TVs, because they're filmed for the big screen. And I can find that and actually send it to you guys. But like, he was like, support your local cinema, because we shot it for the big screen, and it's going to really hit you emotionally, or you're going to feel that action scene in a completely different way, because we shot it for 72 millimeter or like IMAX or what have you. And like, if you take that experience away, the filmmakers are just going to get like really, I don't know if depressed is the word, but like, you're taking away art from them. So I don't think you take that big screen away from directors like Ridley Scott and Steven Spielberg and everybody else that I can go down the list,
I mean, yeah, like look at the trailer for the Christopher Nolan new movie Tenet just hit, and I see that trailer and I go, that's awesome. I want to be sitting in a packed IMAX watching that in the biggest experience possible. Like, I don't want to watch that. Like, you want to watch that on your phone?
No, absolutely not. Or on my 65-inch. No, I want to see that in IMAX. Listen, I've seen all five new Star Wars movies in IMAX 3D, and I wouldn't change that for the world. And I hope I get to continue to do that, or else it's just going to be really. I mean, we're going to lose such a great art form in cinema that, especially with the films and the franchises that we love and we're mostly going to talk about on this podcast. Johnny, don't you agree with me though?
Well, here's where I'm torn. Me personally, the movie theater is like one of my favorite places on earth. Like, I'm one of those weird people that like to go alone to a movie. You know, maybe not an event movie like Star Wars or whatever, but when I see Top Gun 2 or any Leonardo DiCaprio movie, I'm usually alone because Serena, well, it depends on the movie, but Serena doesn't want to go to the movies as much as I do. So I go alone a lot, and it's like, it's my thing. I love it. Like, I love the movie theater. But I got to be honest with you, like, I think we're going to see a decline in movies, in movie theater. Like, I don't think it's going to, you know, it won't be replaced, but, you know, what's a wide release? Like 2,000 screens, 2,500 screens? I bet you it's between 1,500 and 2,000 after we get through this.
I mean, you're definitely going to see some smaller independent places go out of business, and that really sucks.
Well,
Because-
no, AMC said they're on the verge of bankruptcy. That's not a small. That's a huge theatrical corporation. You know, it's real estate, honestly, real estate and Cinematheque, but like they're on the verge of going bankrupt right now. Did you hear that, guys?
Well, I mean,
AMC.
they haven't had, they couldn't show a movie since March 16th ish.
That's
We're-
not a small
we're-
business.
It's about to be June. No, but think about it. They've had no income, you know, and no stimulus check is going to, you know, save like AMC. You know, it's like they haven't sold a movie ticket in all of April, all of May, half of March. Like, so I don't doubt that they're going out of business. It makes sense that they're going out of business. It's sad. You know, that's what this virus is doing to a lot of businesses, a lot of people not working right now. You know, try and keep the show light, but you know, it's the reality of the situation. This virus has completely shut down huge parts of the economy. I think, you know, not to share your business, Mike, but like the economy, like I'm very lucky, and I say this almost every show. I'm very lucky, you know, my job transformed because of the virus, but I still have a job. I'm very lucky. Mike, you shared with me before that like this pandemic has hurt you, right?
Yeah, my advertising business and the company I work for, we're down revenue by 60%, and we're not going to hit goal in Q2, which is what we're in now. It'll be the first quarter we don't hit goal in 4 years, and they basically cut all our salaries by 42%. And my my salary pays my wife and myself's bills, and the commission is really where we get fruitful and we get to live. And I'm not going to have any commission. I may not have commission until next year, until 2021, if my company can stay afloat. With that, I think that my company made some really smart decisions by not laying us all off and keeping us on board to stay top of mind with our accounts. When normalcy somewhat comes back, we can kind of raise revenue again. But like, I am drowning right now, both financially and professionally, my company, meaning because I'm a part of them. So it's really, and being a New Yorker my whole life, and I think Emily is as well. I don't think New York City may ever come back from this. I think there's going to be real estate bankruptcies. I think offices and companies are going to realize that they can save money by having their employees work remotely. I don't want to go down this path, especially on our first episode, but it's kind of hard not to bring some of this stuff up when it does relate to pop culture, and it does relate to the way that we enjoy content with our family and our friends. I'm just hoping that, guys, and I pray every night, and I really do, that like things are going to turn around this summer. And I still have faith that it will. So I believe that, you know.
No, I mean it's all LinkedIn related. How about you, Emily? How's it like hitting you?
I mean, I still have my job, but we do. I work at a law firm, and we're not. I mean, we've had a couple new cases that my boss brought in this month, but it's way down from what we bring in like during a normal course of business.
Yeah, I mean,
Are courthouses even open right now for cases?
Yeah, and it's sort of they're doing some teleconferencing, and I mean the one thing is the courts had been in the process of going to e-filing for a while. So some of that's already in place, but I mean for a while they weren't accepting anything at all, and now it's sort of like, well, we got to figure out how to do this. So some stuff's coming back and some stuff's not. It's sort of a big confusing mess right now.
Wow.
well, I back to the movie theater thing, and as we know, movies, television, like they've shut down productions. So
I think Hollywood just opened up, Johnny. I heard this morning. I heard the governor of California gave Hollywood the green light to, I think, and there's a huge like bullets outline of regulations they need to follow. There's distancing, there's masks, there's all that, not jive, whatever. But like productions that were already like halfway or almost finished or in the midst of production and whatever, yada yada, like they're able to go and continue. New productions that haven't even started, like meaning not pre-production but production physical, cannot start yet. But anything that was already in production, and I'll find the article right now, I'll see if I can send it to you guys. Anything that was in production can actually go back to work. And it raised, I don't want to get not political, but it raised some concerns that gets to happen. But like things like religion and church are still not okay in California, and things like AA meetings and like mental health groups are still not okay. But they opened up some of Hollywood. We're not allowed to talk about politics. I'm just stating facts right now, so we don't have to go into that. But I'll look for the article now and I'll send it to you. So basically, like, if there was one episode of Mando 2 that they didn't finish, like Favreau can get, Deborah Chow to finish that episode as of this week, apparently. I think it was Hollywood Reporter.
I wonder if it takes like a film approximately 2 years to be done, maybe like a year and a half. So maybe Oscars 21 or maybe even 22, depending on whatever, will be like really late. Like I was thinking about that, and I remember reading an article that they might like delay the Oscars. I forget if it was 22 or 21, but it's like, there's nothing to do. Like Golden Globes, like there's just gonna be a halt. So like we're gonna see like a slowdown in like what we're watching. It might be like the rebirth of reality television again, like just shit like that, like just like that's quick and easy and you can film on like a quick little Steadicam or something.
Yeah.
All right, so let's switch it up a little bit because I am very curious. So there is a show that I hear about all the time. I've never seen it. What We Do in the Shadows was renewed for a third season. I've never seen it, but like people love it. And Emily, you mentioned that you watched the show?
Yeah, I'm really into it. It is based off of the movie What We Do in the Shadows, it's Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement. Though people always talk about it just as a straight Taika Waititi show, which I think is, movie, which is a little unfair. And Taika actually isn't involved at all in the show. But it's Jermaine Clement who I believe does most of the writing, and he created it. But it is a mockumentary style show about a couple of vampires who live together on Long Island.
And like,
oh, sorry, no, not Long Island, Staten Island. And it's really funny. There's like, they also have their like one of their familiars. They have a great character who is not a typical vampire. He is an energy vampire, and he feeds by boring people.
Okay.
So he's like this, like middle-aged office worker looking dude, and that's how he feeds, by either boring people, or in the last episode they did, another way he feeds is by trolling people online, like being the type of guys who like reply to somebody with a PhD telling them that they should have read the article, and then it's like, I wrote the article, like those people.
I gotta check that out.
It's a lot of fun. The cast is great. It's super funny. Mark Hamill was just in an episode a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
I highly recommend it. Yeah, you
it
don't
out.
have to have seen the movie because it's not the same characters at all. It's just sort of set in the same like universe. But I really enjoy it. I'm glad it's coming back.
So speaking of Mark Hamill, I have to say this, and I haven't been able to say this for like 4 years. I don't think Mark Hamill's a very good actor.
He's a great voiceover actor for animation, though. He's probably one of the top, for me personally, my top 5 favorite, like in my life.
Which makes sense because voiceover is like over the top and like accentuated. Like let me just give you an example. Like, 'cause you're a Palpatine.
Because you're a Palpatine.
'Cause you're a Palpatine.
Because you're a Palpatine.
Like he just like he'll be fine for a while, and then like he'll just really just destroy a line. And you're just like reminded why Harrison Ford's career took off and not Luke's. You know what I mean? Not Mark Hamill's. And
I think Mark is very good in The Last Jedi. And
he is, but there's like 2 or 3 lines that goes right to what Johnny's saying. Like that does not ruin it, but like he was right there, and then like, I don't know, the shrugging of the shoulder with the face he makes. There's a couple things where I'm just like, you almost had it. Like for me personally, you almost had it.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's that's really the only thing I can think of right now. But just some of his lines, he just blows.
When he grabs the lightsaber, Johnny, when she throws it in the fire, and he goes, "What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?"
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
very animated to me.
yeah, I
I
mean
don't
that is it's a very like voice actor line read, because I mean it's just an entirely different skill set.
But
And
in
I think-
Empire,
yeah.
I think he was fucking phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah,
Johnny,
he was better talking to Yoda. Like some of his best acting is when there wasn't another person in the room, with like Frank Oz underneath like a wood plank, like with his hand up Yoda's puppet ass. Like, it's like he was believable.
or
like-
a guy with a mask. I mean, him and Vader in that fight, and the whole thing on Bespin was just, I mean, obviously it's one of the best scenes of all time in Hollywood, but like, he was great. He was just like fantastic.
It comes and goes, and I've been holding that back for a long time.
No, like he's not somebody who I would want to go like see on the stage doing a Sam Shepard play. Like that's not who he is.
And if you ever saw like My Corvette Summer, am I the only one who saw this movie?
I won't
Because Luke
watch it.
Skywalker was in it.
I won't watch it.
Oh my, it's so bad.
It's the car of a lifetime. It took him all year to build it.
Hell, I'm gonna drive that thing right up to General Motors' front door.
One night to lose it.
Hey, that's my car! You stole my car!
And the whole summer to get it back. MGM presents Corvette Summer.
Somebody stole my Stingray and the word's out it's in Vegas.
You got a Corvette?
Starring Mark Hamill, who's back from Star Wars.
Oh, yeah!
And Annie Potts, who's out of this world.
You're gonna spend the night. Comprende, amigo?
If he knew as much about girls as he does about cars, he wouldn't be so nervous.
Peel off them duds, sailor, and let me see what you got.
Sure.
And if she knew as much about cars as she does about boys,
What do you drink?
she wouldn't be so jealous.
Motor oil?
And if you knew as much as they know about this candy apple metal flake Corvette, you'd be chasing it too.
I'm helping you, Dope. I'm helping you find your car.
You run up against a car thief, you're liable to wind up at the bottom of Lake Mead.
He's into fast cars.
Why don't you write a letter to the car? Dear car.
She's into black velvet.
Beg your pardon?
I mean, wow!
Together, they find love,
You have no right to take me anywhere.
excitement, and danger. On the trail of a stolen Corvette.
Stop this car! Stop it! I'm getting out!
Oh, no, you're not.
Mark Hamill, Annie Potts. It's the girl,
You're insane!
the car, and the time that separates the men from the boys. Corvette Summer,
It's a terrific car.
a fiberglass romance.
It's bad.
I heard Harrison in American Graffiti blows him away, and I still haven't seen that.
Harrison Ford in American Graffiti?
Oh, who is in American Graffiti?
Harrison Ford, but he's in it for like
Yeah, but I'm saying
Like 2
whatever
minutes.
he's in it for that short period of time, like blows away the whole Corvette film with Hamill, his whole performance.
Yeah, Harrison Ford in that movie, he's not in it long, and he plays like the stud, and he clearly pulls it off. You know,
Is he like the Fonzie?
no, not even not like that. You never seen the movie, Mike?
No, I got to see that one.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's really good. No, actually, you know what? It's not that good. No, it's not that good. Matter of fact, anything George Lucas has made, like
No.
other than Star Wars, hasn't been really that good. Like I
Indiana
forget what
Jones, amazing. Red.
that's Spielberg. That's Spielberg.
I loved his last film that he did. Red.
What?
Emily,
Red Tails?
Yeah, I
Nope.
loved it.
Nope,
I thought it was great.
not good.
I enjoyed it.
That's the one with Cuba Gooding Jr., right?
Yeah,
He did that movie?
that's his
Definitely?
script. I think he directed it. He definitely produced it. That was George Lucas. Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was George's last like theatrical release. That was his. It was Red Tails.
Well, I'm
Star
seeing
Wars?
like 2 directors listed on it, and I don't know what that means.
Oh, you know what that
Sounds like
means.
George.
That's like Return of the Jedi.
Sounds like George. Like
Marquand had to like do the heavy lifting, and George made the decisions.
Yeah, because he's a storyteller, he's an editor, and he's just an amazing imagination. But like behind the camera though, I'm with you, John, for the most part. You know.
No, I'm just saying, like I haven't really like American Graffiti was cool because I'm a car guy. So that's what I had to like take myself away from that for a second. Like was it a good movie, or am I just like I just like watching the car candy? Like there's a part where like Ron Howard goes to see like the Howard Stern of his time, like the Wolfman Jack DJ, and he gives him like that like life-changing advice, and you're just like, oh god, that's so cheesy.
But maybe for 1975, it's probably not great, but it's probably not as bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I gotta like, you know, I mean that's probably been 20 years since I've seen that movie. But I remember Harrison Ford was barely in it. Oh, speaking of Harrison Ford, and you brought up Indiana Jones. I don't mean to be like Johnny Downer in this episode, but like, dude, we're definitely getting another Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford is definitely pushing 80. Like, what are we expecting from this movie? Like, if he plays the Sean Connery role, kind of like the older figure who kind of guides the younger dude through the quest, like, cool. But like, are we really gonna see a 70s? Because they haven't filmed yet, and Harrison Ford keeps aging. Mike, can you Google how old he is?
Yeah.
He's like 77. Like, are we gonna see this dude crack a whip, run and jump and punch? Like, seriously? Emily, what do you think?
That's why I don't want those movies to happen.
77.
77, and they haven't filmed yet.
I feel like he's going to be Sean Connery, and they'll just replace Shia because of his beef with Spielberg right now. Like maybe Chris Pratt, and he just got older. I don't know. It'll be Last Crusade.
I don't think they're gonna go. I don't think they're gonna go the son. I think the Shia LaBeouf angle is done. I think it'll be like, I like the Chris Pratt idea.
What if he had another kid? Because how many chicks has Indy been with? Maybe he has another son, and it's Chris Pratt.
He's had 3 love interests in 3 movies.
Right, exactly. Maybe it's with the blonde from Temple of Doom.
3 love interests in 4 movies. Sorry.
So the Temple of Doom, the blonde, the horrible actress in Temple of Doom, maybe she had. Maybe
you mean Mrs. Spielberg?
Yeah, maybe Mrs. Spielberg's kid is Chris Pratt, and we could actually have a really good father-son indie film to pass the torch.
Yeah, but we already have one. We have Last Crusade.
Yeah, but we got to pass the torch better than we did in 2008.
Can we just not make it and go make another adventure movie?
I guess, but it's just such a big franchise, and Lucasfilm loves that franchise. Kathleen loves that goddamn franchise, and Spielberg loves the damn franchise.
Oh, they're making another one. It's gonna happen, but
I think it's just gonna make me sad.
Like he looked good in The Rise of Skywalker. He looked pretty good. We can all agree, right?
Yeah, he looked just like he did in Force Awakens to me.
He looks good for a guy in his 70s.
He looks great for a guy in his 70s, though.
But does he look good for Indiana Jones action star? That's the hard question. I remember, like, when they first announced the movie, I was telling people, like, dude, he's like gonna be 70 this year, but like he's gonna look stupid, and people like yelled at me. So now the movie isn't even filming, and he's 77. And he almost like crashed a plane. Did you guys hear about that a couple weeks ago? Again. Again. Yeah, like he was trying to land his plane, and the air traffic controller was just like negative Ghost Rider, patterns full, and he fucking pulled the Top Gun and just like fucking flew by the tower and landed the plane anyway. And like you can get arrested for that shit. He's like, no, I'm Harrison Ford. I'm just gonna go ahead and like land this plane. Don't worry about it. Like ignore the air traffic controllers. You know why air traffic controllers are there? To control air traffic. You can't ignore them because there's no green light, yellow light, red light hanging from a cloud. The air traffic, and like shout out to my dad, God rest his soul, was an air traffic controller for years. First in Vietnam, and then and then the Air Force. So in the Air Force, he was in Vietnam, not in Vietnam, but in the Philippines, sending people to and from Vietnam from the Philippines as an air traffic controller. And then in JFK and LaGuardia and all that shit. But like they're important. So like planes don't run into each other. Like I'm actually like upset at Harrison Ford here. Like, dude, like you could have like hit somebody. But of course he's fucking Indiana Jones and Han Solo, so everything worked out fine. He just looks stupid. But was he defiant, or was he like, something else? I don't even want to say it. Hits too close to home.
Are there a lot of people in their late 70s with piloting license flying today?
There aren't a lot of people in their late 70s driving, let alone flying a fucking plane.
Right.
And like, don't get me wrong, I love Harrison Ford. Like, I'm not like I'm super negative today, and I apologize, but no one bring up Rebels because I don't know what would happen then.
No.
But like, let's just get back to the Indiana Jones thing. Like, I want to see it. But he's got to be like, all right, here we go. Let me run this by you guys. College professor Indiana Jones. A young student, let's say, we'll call him Johnny. Yep, I'm going that way with it, Emily. Goes up to his like favorite professor and says like, I found this map to this ancient relic. Do you think, it's real? And fucking Indiana Jones is like, hell yeah, it's real, son. And this is how you do it. And he's like, to borrow a line from like Marvel's Spider-Man, like he's the man in the chair. Can I be your man in the chair who like sits in front of the computer and like tells you to do shit? Like if he's the man in the chair, or like the old mentor to that young teacher's assistant or student or whatever, however age they want to go. Because if you want to use Chris Pratt, you go TA, like assistant professor, to Indiana's full professor in college. Or if you want to go younger, like 22 to 25 or whatever, and that's actor age. like screen age, 20 to 22, then you can say student. But like that's the only way I can see this work. Like I can't see this guy punching Nazis. Well, it wouldn't be Nazis, it would be Russians. It wouldn't even be Russians.
What
Like
would
what
it be?
year would it be? Like it was Russians in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, right?
When did
Yeah.
that come out?
Who knows now? Honestly, everything's gonna be pushed.
Mike, you're our man in the chair. Can you Google that?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like what I don't want is a bunch of jokes about how Indiana Jones is old now.
Yeah, like we don't need to hear I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm sort of afraid that that is what it would be.
July 29th, 2022. So a year and a half? No,
No, but when did Crystal Skull come out?
2008, right? Let's see.
That's what we asked you to. Jesus.
Oh, sorry.
Your
Well,
first
I think
job
that's
man in the chair.
That's the pending date for 5. So
Right, push that back because of the coronavirus.
that was actually just had his anniversary. It was May 20th, 2008.
2008. And does it say what film, what time period? Was it the 60s?
Yeah.
Well, it's like right in the middle of the Cold War.
Cold War was long.
Yeah, but I mean.
1957. 1957's got to be Russians? Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
Alright,
it is now.
so-
So it'd be like late 60s, early 70s now.
So
for this
so
movie.
Indiana Jones is going to fight like Vietnam. That's where they're putting us. That's the time period they're putting us, early Vietnam.
I don't want Indiana Jones versus hippies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, instead of Shia LaBeouf in like the bomber jacket on the motorcycle, it's gonna be like peace, love. By the way, can I just say this? I hate everything about the 60s. I hate the music. I hate the decor. I hate the flower power. I don't want to say I hate hippies, but like I just hate that 60s culture and 70s, like that 60s, 70s flower pattern. I hate it. I'm all about the 80s. Give me
Well, that
some
was you.
neon pink.
I mean, that
As-
was your era, so that makes sense. But
And look
Cool.
behind me, everybody.
Yeah.
I actually had no say in the colors, but Josh nailed it. So do you think Indiana Jones 5 will work?
No.
probably not, but I'm still excited because I'm a sucker.
Oh, don't get me. I'm going to see it. I'm sucked in. I have an Indiana Jones hat somewhere. It's like a cheap one. I got to get a real one. A fedora.
I don't know how much time we have, but there's something I wanted to talk about briefly.
What did you want to talk about, Mike?
So Frank Marshall, who's the executive producer of the Jurassic World franchise, says that like the next Jurassic Park film or whatever Jurassic World film is not like the final, like the last of this new trilogy. It's actually a start of like a whole new era of just Jurassic Park vomit films over the course of the next decade. Because the last one, I don't think most of us liked it, but like I thought that this is just gonna like end on a mediocre note now. But now it's like this one. The next one's called Jurassic World Dominion, and it's being billed as the final third installment of this trilogy, but it's going to open up this whole other world because now we're going to live like fictionally in these new films after this, like with dinosaurs. We're going to coexist throughout the whole world everywhere, and that's going to open up all these other stories. Basically, is what he's saying. I think this is insane. I think this should not happen.
Well, didn't the last one end with the dinosaurs like escaping into civilization?
Yeah, in Northern California or Oregon or something. So this
So
is going
that-
to be the final story for that. And then after that, the dinosaurs are going to rule the earth, but we're going to try to coexist.
That's what they said?
That's kind of what I'm getting from this. The
That
dinosaurs
sounds
are
terrible.
So this is a quote from the
They
executive
landed
producer.
a lost.
The dinosaurs are now on the mainland everywhere amongst us, and they will be for quite some time. I hope. And he's talking about the future films after this next film. This is crazy. This is insane.
It's like True Blood with fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah, basically.
By the
And
way,
they-
True Blood was really good for the first season or two. And then
Well,
just-
when it was just vampires, and then it was we're going to put in every supernatural creature we can think of, I was kind of done. And then the season they introduced fairies, I'm like, no, I'm out.
I don't remember the fairies. I remember the werewolf guy.
I remember the werewolf guy and all the vampires and all the sex.
There are a lot of sex.
So much sex.
Dude, vampires fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
So is
especially when
Sookie's-
one of them is Alexander Skarsgård.
You gotta think he's cool. You like him?
Oh my god, he's gorgeous.
He was almost Thor.
I can see that.
That makes sense.
But no, I'm not. I don't want to see dinosaurs living amongst people. No, the whole point was it's a theme park and things go terribly wrong, and that's it. That's what I like in my dinosaur movie.
Franchises find a way.
Ooh.
That's another thing. Is he coming back?
So it says, although we caught a glimpse of Goldblum in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, we haven't seen Sam Neill's character or Laura Dern's character since Jurassic Park 3 20 years ago. And this is from Trevorrow, quote, from Colin Trevorrow, who directed the last one. You start asking the most basic questions. Where are those people now? What do they make of the new world they're living in with the dinosaurs living among them? And how do they feel being a part of all this history?
How can we cash in?
Trevorrow teased, ultimately, it will be in collaboration with the actors if they want to be a part of this. They know and love these characters. We'll all do it together.
Bring back Vince Vaughn.
Which one was that?
2?
3?
2.
2? It was 2, right?
Yeah.
What was 2 called?
I think it was called Jurassic World.
The Lost World.
Yes.
It was because that was the Lost World Jurassic Park because they had no consistency in like what part of the name was coming first.
Right.
This is turning into Fast and the Furious, and I don't like it with dinosaurs. I'm done.
Emily knows a thing or two about the Fast and Furious franchise.
I've now seen all of the movies.
How was that?
It was a lot.
It's guilty pleasure, right? Or is it overload?
No, she hated it.
Some of them are dumb fun. Some of them are just dumb. I like it more when they are like super spies and fighting like villains than when they're just like racing cars. Because I don't care about cars.
See, like, that's the shit that I hated, Emily. Like, they went from, like, this underground racing scene, which was cool, and then the next thing you know, they're spies.
Yeah, but then you have The Rock and Jason Statham, and I'll watch those dudes.
But they have their own franchise now because Vin Diesel and The Rock don't like each other, right?
Yes. We'll see what happens there.
Did you see that one? That Rock, Jason
That
Statham?
Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw? Yeah. It's one of the stupidest movies I've ever seen, but it's kind of enjoyable and has some good fight scenes, and Idris Elba's awesome in it.
Oh, he's great. He's one of my favorites right now. Man, I'd love to see him in Star Wars, huh?
Yeah.
That would be dope. Maybe even in Mando, like a Mando season, a bounty hunter or somebody.
Apparently everyone's in the Mandalorian now, so fucking why not? Throw him in there.
All-star.
All right, we are about at our hour, and it's called the Pop Culture Hour. However, we have a video message we're going to play, and then a couple voicemails. Let's do emails first. So again, if you would like to email and talk about whatever you want to talk about, it's thepopculturehour@gmail.com. So this is our friend Ian, and it's our first email for the Pop Culture Hour.
Exciting.
And he says, hello, pop culture gang. So I've been making my way through the prequel trilogy special features, and one specific aspect I appreciate are the deleted scenes. For as long as I can remember, I've always thought certain scenes should have been included either in addition or at the cost of others. So this has me think, are there deleted scenes you would have liked included in the movies, or other scenes you'd take out? For me, I know for episode 2, I would have included Padme addressing the Senate, Kenobi having the toxic dart analyzed, Padme's interrogation by Dooku while taking out the I hate sand scene. For episode, he's not lying there. For episode 3, I think they should have included senators planting seeds of the rebellion arc. Let me know what you think. Who would like to go first?
I don't know any of the prequel deleted scenes, so I have nothing to say on this.
Mon Mothma. The Mon Mothma scene would have been cool. Especially
Okay.
now that she's all over fucking Star Wars. She'll be in The Mandalorian. She'll be in the Cassian series. No, she'll definitely be in the Cassian series.
She was in Rogue One. She was in Rebels, right?
Don't mention Rebels here.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
No religion, no politics, no rebels.
Okay, solid rules.
Oh, boy. We're going to have to talk about that in like 6 months, though.
What?
We're going to have to kind of like briefly skim over Rebels like
No.
after Mando season 2.
I mean, if whatever
we
you
will,
want
though.
to talk about, you can. If
No,
Emily,
because-
you want to discuss it, you can. But that's the whole point. I feel so liberated by the Pop Culture Hour. I forced myself to watch fucking Rebels, and I hated it. But I felt I had to because I was on a Star Wars podcast. Now I'm no longer on a Star Wars podcast, and I don't have to fucking watch Rebels unless I want to, and I don't.
Emily, quote me right now that after we finish Mando season 2 and spoiler is lifted, whatever, he's gonna bring up something that connects to that before you and I do.
I mean, I'm never going to talk about Rebels because I've seen 3 episodes of it.
Oh, okay. Well, like the Rosario Dawson stuff and the other stuff that came out, like I feel like whatever. All right, we'll see what happens. We got 6 months from now, so.
But listen, you can totally, like, when we go to you and say, Mike, what's on your mind? Like, what do you want to talk about, right? Like you brought up the I forget what you brought up, but you can bring up Rebels, and me and Emily will politely listen, and you tell us what you think, and the audience will write in and discuss it with you, and me and Emily will just kind of like stare at each other while you
But
talk.
if you guys want to talk about Mandalorian season 2 after you see it, it's going to be really hard not to make connective tissue to some of that, I think. And I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Well,
But
let's
whatever,
see
we'll
what Steven Spooner has to say. Oh, he says a lot. You ready? Hey, Johnny, Mike, and a massive welcome to Emily.
Aww.
Glad to have you on board, as I've always enjoyed hearing you on other pods. Aw.
Thank you.
Fan mail. Just thought after Boba was all but confirmed for Mando Series 2 that I would share my little theory idea for how he could be introduced. All right, cool. At the end of the Series 1, Din, a.k.a. the Mando, is left in doubt as to whether any other of the covert escaped Moff Gideon's attack on them. What I would like to see is our hero getting word of another Beskar-wearing warrior and thinking it must be one of his creed after escaping. From here, he would go in search only to discover that the rumor is referring to our favorite, long-thought-dead, Sarlacc snack. From there, Mando could deal with the morality of it not being who he expected and whether to accept Boba as a true Mandalorian or not before they have to eventually team up to deal with some other foe together. Looking forward to the new episodes and the diverse new content, but please don't go light on the Star Wars stuff. It's obviously our favorite. Take care, stay safe, and then force be with you, Steve. Steve, don't worry. When there's Star Wars to talk about it, we talk about it. Emily, what did you think?
I think that would be cool. Unfortunately, like it sounds like Tamora Morrison isn't going to be in this season a whole lot. So that might be wanting too much, but I think that'd be a good hook to get him in.
Mikey?
I love the idea, but we already know like the announcement that he's part of the cast was really, really late. I can't see him being showing up in the first episode of season 2 and then staying for the ride. I think it's going to be something that may leave ends open for season 3, or there's one episode where, you know, I think that Favreau episode that I think Johnny and I both don't like very much, not Favreau, the Filoni episode that we don't like, episode 5, where they're chasing down the bounty. He's chasing down the bounty with the rookie. He leaves the child alone with the poor version of Sigourney Weaver. I think the spurs are Boba, and he rescues what is probably his friend, that other mercenary that has a bounty on her. So maybe there's an episode where Boba and that mercenary, I forget her name, good actress, by the way. I think that may incorporate one episode with Tamora where he's part of that storyline because it's kind of left open-ended. But I'm mostly with Emily where like he's not going to be in it from start to finish, which is kind of what that connective tissue was going with. So
I just don't want to see it turn into like a buddy comedy show. Like if Boba Fett's truly in The Mandalorian, which all signs are pointing to yes, obviously, he better be like a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stay the bounty hunter bad guy. That's why we love you. Like the Mando is the good guy we love in the shiny armor, and let Boba still be that bad guy. You know, don't forget Boba like froze Han Solo. Like he's a bad guy, even though we all love him because he's cool. He's a bad guy. Just stay bad, Pony Boy. Stay bad.
I mean, it'd be nice to see them go at it, and obviously nobody dies, you know. But it's like an ongoing rivalry that develops.
Boba Fett can die, right? Is there anything canon after this point? No. So he can die. We can see the death of Boba Fett.
I hope
good point.
I hope Hawes isn't listening to this. Jeez.
As long as it's done right, you know, I'm sure you wouldn't mind.
I guess, but do you think if they're going to make the efforts to bring that franchise character back to just kill him off in 22 minutes? Yeah,
because you can make a movie about him and just prequel it, like go backwards.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's 5 years there. 4 or 5 years.
All right. This is from Coda Motorola. Hey guys, so I've been watching The Simpsons and can't help but see Mike as Mo. They got the same accent and everything. Just thought I'd share this with you. And Coda said, Boba Fett in the Mando is sweet. He's hyped. He knows Hawes is hyped too. Love the podcast. Keep doing your thing. Here is a video message. This is from Tom. Shout out to Bill Beck, our producer, who does an amazing job with the YouTube. So if you're listening to the podcast, we also have a YouTube channel, the Pop Culture Hour. Search for it on YouTube. You'll find it. Oh, here we go.
Hey, Johnny. Hey, Mike. This is Tom Sutton, also known as Not King Tom, also known as the host of the Star Wars Fun for Everyone, Especially Me podcast. I just wanted to say thanks for the show. I wanted to respond to your question about Russian Doll. It's actually one of my favorite shows of the last few years. I thought it was super good. Really energetic, really unpredictable, visually awesome. So I think it's fantastic that the showrunner for Russian Doll is on board to do a Star Wars show. I wanted to ask you guys a question. Have you ever seen the George Lucas deepfake stuff on YouTube? I have to say, I feel like it's more convincing than what they achieved with Tarkin in Rogue One. So I wanted to ask you, if you take a look at that and think back to how Tarkin looked in Rogue One, what do you guys think? Which is more convincing as a real human being? Is it the mega millions spent to recreate Tarkin in Rogue One? Or is it the deep fake of George Lucas that you can see on YouTube? All right, thanks heaps for the show. I always have a great time listening to you guys. See you next time. Bye.
Dude, thank you, Tom. And you look great, you handsome devil. I'm missing my long hair looking at Tom. So I did see that. Did you guys see those deep fake videos?
I'm watching it now. His head is a little too big for his body, but it actually looks pretty good. I mean, it's not to scale, but the face and the hair is obviously from 2005 or 2002 for clones, but like, it's not bad.
Emily, did you see it? Because you're our Tarkin expert.
No, I haven't seen it. I'm looking at it right now. It's definitely a little bit off, but it's not. I mean, it doesn't look like a flat-out cartoon like Tarkin did.
Oh, so you were upset with Tarkin?
I think it's terrible looking. It's
my
least favorite part of that movie, and it's really disappointing because I love Tarkin so much.
I think you do love Tarkin so much.
I do.
All right, so we're gonna say deep. What's it called? Deep cut or deep fake?
Deep fake.
Deep fake. Deep fake George looks better than Tarkin, to answer your question, Tom. And thank you for the Russian Dolls. Good word there. So I'm excited about that showrunner as well. I've heard nothing. So add Tom to the list. Just every time I hear people talk about Russian Doll, it's an amazing show. I gotta go see it. Emily, did you see it? Did we talk about this yet?
I saw the first episode and then just I liked it but just sort of forgot about it. I do that a lot with shows.
Is it Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon? I forget.
Netflix, I believe.
Okay, cool.
Tom, thank you very much. And then everyone listening, please, if you're listening on a podcast, please check out the YouTube channel, The Pop Culture Hour. Bill Beck, the amazing producer. Say hi, Bill.
Fuck you, Johnny.
He does things. It's amazing. He puts so much work into it. So check it out. Even if you're listening to the podcast in the car, on the way to work, whatever, just check out the visuals. Bill Beck works so hard, does such a great job. Real excited. Make sure you go and you like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. All right, so I guess let's wrap it up. Emily, did we get to talk about everything you need to talk about?
I think so. I think one thing maybe we could do was we wrap up every week is everybody recommend one thing that they've either been watching or reading or playing or doing lately.
Love that.
I want to recommend a Hulu show, The Great, and it is a weird, super raunchy, funny, dark humored look at Catherine the Great in Russia. I'm about halfway through the series. It's super bizarre, but ton of fun. The lead is, I think, Ellie Fanning, and she's just great. And it's so much fun. It's her right after she marries Peter and learns he's a total insane jackass and planning a coup to take him down and take power.
How about you, Mike?
I would like to recommend a show that I just finished on Netflix that I believe is a pretty new release, about a week or so, called White Lines. It is about a bunch of aspiring DJs from Manchester and best friends who are a bit troublemakers and don't see much of a future in the educational system, and they just take off one day for Ibiza in French Polynesia, and they become superstars and mega club owners, and one of them goes missing, and then it fast forwards 20 years later, and his sister, who he abandoned in Manchester, is now 28, or about 30 years old, married with a daughter, and she gets a phone call from the police in France that they found her brother's body, and then she goes to Ibiza and to France to investigate her brother's death and to find all his friends that he nomaded to Ibiza with, and then it goes on this crazy ass journey and plot twists, and it's dark comedy, it's bizarre action, it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll in Ibiza, and I actually thought the acting was great. So if that sounds appealing to anybody, I definitely recommend checking it out.
I'm gonna go to one of my other loves in cars, and this definitely isn't for everybody, but there's this show called Fast and Loud on Discovery. It's about Richard Rawlings and Gas Monkey Garage. If you've met me in person, like I think I wore like a couple Gas Monkey Garage t-shirts to like Star Wars Celebration. I absolutely love the show. And what's great about it is he basically like buys a car, fixes it up with his team, and sells it for a profit, or he loses money. But he's a real charismatic figure. And if you watch the show from like the beginning, like I have, you watch him like become this multi-millionaire over like the 9 or 10 seasons. Like, so Emily, check it out. Like the first year he's in a 2-car garage is his quote unquote shop, and his office is like a trailer, you know, and it's off to the side, and it's like a piece of shit. And that's season 1. And then like you see like over the seasons, like he just makes a little more, and his projects get bigger and bigger. And what I love about the show is 2 things. He loses almost as much as he wins, you know, and when he loses the money, you know he loses the money because like he holds nothing back. Like he freaks out, like his face gets red, like he'll spend $70,000 to build a car to sell at auction, and then you see that $70,000 car sell for $23,000 at auction. So he just lost $50,000, and you watch him lose it. So it's like a human interest story, if you will. And he's like charismatic and cool, and you know we'll throw him to one of my many man crushes, you know, in there with like Leo and Brad. Like I just love watching him, and it's a really good show. And you don't have to be a car guy. It helps to watch the show because you're really watching the money, and to see where he's at now and where he started, it's amazing. So I'm going to recommend that. That's on Discovery, and you can watch the old episodes. Like, it's cool. Let's talk about where you can find and follow us. So we have, which I think is pretty awesome, we have 2 Instagram followers, and I didn't even like go public with it yet. So we have an Instagram. Ooh, excuse me, I have the hiccups. I gotta end the show because I have the hiccups. We have an Instagram, and it's called Pop Culture Hour. We have a Twitter, and it's called @PopCultureHour. We want you to write in every week. So Rogue One, we didn't really like rely heavily on emails because me, Mike, Hawes, Emily are amazing guests. We carry the show, but with the Jesus. These hiccups came out of nowhere. With the Pop Culture Hour, because it's such a broad subject, write in, tell us what you want us to talk about, or write in what you want to talk about, or more importantly, video message in for the YouTube channel. So you can write in at thepopculturehour@gmail.com. So the email is thepopculturehour@gmail.com. Twitter and Instagram is just Pop Culture Hour. And how about you guys?
I am on Twitter and Instagram @EFLind. I also do a podcast about Star Wars called The Cantobite Dispatch, and I do a podcast about Fast and the Furious called The Fan and the Furious.
I am on Twitter at MaximumPaps. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Pop Culture Hour, or you can just search Facebook for Pop Culture Hour and join the group. We're pretty active there, actually. So.
Yes, please join that Facebook group. Let's build it. And when we announced it in that group, like a couple people were like, "Wait, what?" But
Yeah.
we eased their pain. Hopefully we ease their pain. But like it's great though. Like just so liberating. Like if this was still like a 100% Star Wars podcast, like I don't know what we would have been dissecting. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah,
The
there's some
Gallery,
stuff, but
which is, by the way, is a good show. Disney The Gallery, about the
It's
making
good.
of The Mandalorian. It's good.
It's good.
But like I don't need to like, you know what I need to do? I need to say, "Hey Emily, that shit was good." Like I don't need to break down everything.
Yeah, there's
Like-
not a lot to say about it.
You know? I can't believe how beautiful Carano is. Like
Yeah, she's super
her
hot.
smile is, you know what it is? Her smile. She's got $1 million smile, as they say.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if she's just like resting face, like, or just like scowling like in The Mandalorian, but when she's got a beautiful smile, and she's like not that like typical looking woman, which is good, you know.
She also just seems like somebody I'd really love to go like have a beer with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Because she's not like your typical actress. She was a fucking fighter, which like makes her super cool. You know what I mean? Like Mike, she can kick your ass.
I'm fine with that, though. She can kick my ass any day she wants.
Just no creepy. You want to wrestle?
No. She can just punch me in the face. I'm fine.
Oh, that's funny. So I'm excited. So let's wrap this up because we're a little over an hour, but that is good. Next week, write in. Tell us what you want to. Oh, not in 2 weeks. Write in. Let us know what you're going to talk about. Check out the Pop Culture Hour on YouTube as well. Like and subscribe. We're starting from scratch everywhere, so please like and subscribe. We love you. We want to do it. All right. So anything else? Going once? Going twice? All right. Till the next one.